Okay, cool. So I wanted to show you guys, this is the Torso Electronics S4. Currently, I think right now, I'll show you this in a second, what it's actually on. I'm a little stopped up, so apologies in advance for that sound of that. However, this is a cool device. What made me interested in this device the most was the sheer fact that I'm a huge fan of soundscapes and creating granular and textural type soundscapes. And I think this device is designed to do just that. It is an effects unit that also has a tape machine built into it and a few other things hidden in it with effects that you can do. You have 4 tracks in it. So let's just take a look. We'll just do like a unboxing, even though I've already seen what it looks like. And basically in the box, you have your power cable, some converters, because obviously they sell these to different countries. And then you have this MIDI for the 5-pin where you can convert. So the device has 2 outs, 2 ins, the sync out and in, the MIDI out and in, headphone jack, USB-C port, as well as the DC 12 volt power spot right there, power output, however you want to turn input. So there's these 8 knobs here, which are endless encoders, and then the keys here all represent different things. I'll show you this in a second. Let me turn it on for you so you can see what it looks like. So give me 1 second to put this away. Now, I'm not going to use the power supply that it comes with. I actually have this ripcord, which is a 12 volt here, and it works just fine. So I'll be using this one for, now I have to obviously have some USB-C power. So I'm going to get that power from a power brick. So let me plug in and get this set up, and then I'll show you, I'll turn it on and show you what the unit looks like so you can see it. Let me make sure everything works. There you go, plugged it in, and you can see the power comes on. Give it 1 second here. Now, when I initially plug it in, sometimes it does take a little time to load, so give it a second. And I'm on the beta version 2.0, just so you know. This is not the regular version. If you go into the configuration and go down to system, open it, you can see which firmware you're on. So you'll see that if I select the firmware, it doesn't say which firmware it is, but this is 2.0. And this will be out to the public. I imagine I think at the Super Booth, they said like 2 to 3 weeks for it to be out. I'm not going to go through everything detailed here, but yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. So you'll see it at some point if you have one. If you haven't bought one and you're thinking about it, I'd say wait till June, unless you found a deal like I did, found a really good deal. Wait till like June, sometime in June, maybe late June, and then consider it. They're still doing beta testing on this version here. It does have some times where it will crash a little bit. So you can see here that these middle 2 are, each screen you'll look down here, you'll see what it represents. So this, in this case, square is up, is down, and this octagon, I guess that's what that is up. The circle represents back, and this is your select button. So, or you can use this, whichever. And you see your mass storage. So if you want to access that, you would press select here. It would go into like a, I don't want to call it a sleep state, but it's kind of like the mass storage shows up on your computer. Of course, to do that, you need to have the USB-C hooked up to it in order to do it. You got 4 gigs on the internal storage, but you can use an external storage unit on the USB. So you could plug in a USB thumb drive or another external source and use that as your source to get your sounds. So it's really up to you. So that's kind of cool because the expansion then of it is extremely nice. This perform and stuff is all new. Before, these buttons didn't do anything. Now they have something there. I'm not going to go into showing you all that. That is, again, under the beta. I'm just giving you a basic overview of what it looks like. Config is it's like your settings, right? Project is your projects where you can save and load your projects. All right. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You want to get off of there, just click config, go back. And then we're already in the project, so really there's no reason for me to load it. So I'm just going to go over to this one. All right, so this one is your tape. So it can be different things on the newer version. On the previous version, I think it was just a tape. Now, because they allow disc streaming, meaning you can stream off of the actual internal device or off of a thumb drive. If you hit control and this, you'll see it takes you, I'm gonna have to hold it down, at least the control. You'll see it takes you to disc, tape, poly, and bypass. If you do bypass, you can use this as an external, that's not the right way to say it. Let me say it a little better. You can use it as an effects box where you just pass effects through it. In other words, you're not running any of the internal tapes or any of that. You're just literally passing it through. Poly is like where you have I think a one-shot sample, if I'm not mistaken, and you can hook your computer or hook your keyboard up to it and play the samples. It's basically playing the sample versus like just using a tape or a loop. All right, so there's your options. We're gonna leave it on this for right now just to show you. This is your granular effect here. And by the way, inside of here, it may be hard to see. Let me check the camera, see where we're at. I don't want to zoom in too far, but let me see if I can zoom in a little bit closer where you guys can see that. Okay, that's a little bit better. So you'll see each one of these correspond to one of the knobs up here. But if you hit this button again here, you'll see that you have 4 more, right? So this button can go between 2 screens. And if you look at like where pitch is right here, you can change the pitch to different things. So the way you would go about doing that is the knob corresponding to it. These are click knobs. So if you click, you can see that you can change the pitch to one of these different scales that you have in here. So like free is free, obviously. I'm gonna do chromatic. And then it makes a difference because now the pitch changes at semitones of 1. If you put it on the others like fifths, it's gonna jump fifths, right? Like on the keyboard. So I'm gonna leave mine like that. I prefer to have it on chromatic. Free is, I don't know what free is. Let's just try to see what free is. What is free? Okay, so free is micro. I'm gonna call it micro. It's legit free. Like, look, if you can see here, you can do your point something versus like semitones just being regular. Hopefully that makes sense. So you see how freely it can move around. So I'm gonna go back and hold this in and put it on chromatic. I prefer just being able to, and you see the semitones there. It didn't change it, did it? Okay, it still kept the semitone. That's weird. Select. So sometimes I think it has like little bugs and issues and things. Oh, look, it jumped. So see, it took a second for it to convert back. It didn't, it's not a bug, but maybe that's a bug. It's a little slow sometimes like that. When you click in, you would think it would just automatically go right back, but unfortunately I do it. But anytime, if you can, it's hard to see, but there's these little hamburger menus that sit, you can see it when you're in person, but it's hard on the camera probably. Right next to each one of those. And anytime they have that, like rate, you can click here and you can set it up for like triplets, free, dotted. So free is gonna legit be like your hertz, right? Straight is your 1 1 1/8, right? Your divisions type rates. Okay. Not all of them have that. And of course, when you hit there, you can see that you can do random rates, you can do random size, you can do detune. So a lot of that is built in. There's not too many people on YouTube, in my opinion. Most people, you see them, all they do is perform with this thing. You don't see them actually showing you anything. So I'm trying to just show you guys some of the features, some of the stuff it has on this. And by the way, this is 2.0. Since it's not out technically, and it's just in the beta right now, this could change. So I'm just showing you basics of this machine, okay? So here is the filter. The filter is something everybody likes about this machine, including myself. I think it's just an amazing filter. It's a 48 band ring filter. So if you hit control and hit there, you can see that it says ring or bypass. So you can bypass the filter or you can leave it on the ring. The ring filter is incredible. And it has cutoff, resonance, decay. On the decay, you can have sustain or choke on the decay. You can change the scale down here on this particular knob. And then it has a dry wet, which is cool because you can blend like the incoming signal. Let's say if you're using, I don't know, if you just got something playing, but you want part of it to be like affected by the filter, but then kind of not, you could, adjust your dry wet, which is kind of cool. And then if you hit it again, you'll see you got more files here with the waves, the noise, the tilt, the detune, and then these other two, which I have not used, by the way. But so that's that. Then you have, this is like distortion, okay? It's got drive, compression, crush, which is like a big crusher, a tilt, and noise, and then some noise decay, noise tone, and then a dry wet. And then if you, I think it's here, yeah, to show you this. So you can bypass it too if you want to. It's called deform or something like that. So there you go. If you touch on the crush, you can see that it's bit crush, redux, or bit crush and redux. Those are your options. So you can change that a little bit. It's kind of cool, these little sub menus in here. So these are endless encoders, but they're also click encoders too. So like even with the tilt, you can do low, mid, high, adjust that. The noise, you can go in and do pink noise, white, dust. So you have those options that you can do. And then the last one is your reverb and delay. And one of the things I wish they would do, first of all, the reverb, I think the reverb, if I'm not mistaken, is a hall reverb. I want them to put various versions of reverb. Like on the reverb here, click in, it would be cool to have like a shimmer, a hall, maybe a plate, and then just the basic reverbs that you have, at least 4 or 5 reverb options. And maybe down the road, they'll add it. It's not there right now, but who knows? All right, on the spread, you can do phase shift, ping pong, diffusion. So that's kind of cool. There's delay, like half of this is where you see this one is reverb, and then half of this is delay. And you can freeze the reverb in different spots. Freeze the reverb delay. On the time button, again, you have straight, dotted, so you can, or go free if you want. So then you got your 16ths and your different ones here that you can put in. So that's pretty much, there's no other options on this. If you click here, you'll see it's called Vast Space, Vast. So hopefully space is their way of saying reverb. Hopefully they'll add more reverbs. There's a lot of space in here, speaking of space. So I think they may add some more reverbs, but I think right now they're working on trying to get this machine where it has some bugs in it that they need to fix. So they're working on it gradually to get those bugs fixed. And it's cool because they opened up the beta to a lot of people who signed up for it, and you could get in and it wasn't a problem. They may still have the beta open. I don't know. I'm on it, but I don't know for everybody. So I'm just showing you some basic stuff. So for those that only had this machine and didn't get on the beta, they're not on 2.0 yet. Some of this stuff, you don't even see it. Like if you hit here, you would have tape, poly, and bypass. You wouldn't have the disc mode, right? Let me see, what else? Yeah, when you hit temp, or perform rather, here's the performance with the macros where you can do all them different macros. You wouldn't have access to this. It would just say coming soon in the corner over here. But it's here now, so it's cool. And if I know right, there's 12 macros. These bottom macros are like performance macros, if I'm not mistaken. I'm saying performance macros, but you press the button and they trigger and they activate it at that moment, and when you release, they let it go. But the knobs, I think, pertain to the macros up here. So I know if you hit here, you can make it bipolar or unpolar, and then you have access to maneuver these macros. So this is new stuff. This is not on the regular one. If you get on the 2.0, then you'll see all this stuff. The mixer in here is really cool, in my opinion, because they put a what they call like I call it a DJ filter. It's basically low pass, high pass, yeah. So it's a DJ filter, and you have the different stops here to stop tracks if you don't want a track to go. Plus, of course, you can adjust the levels of these tracks here. So these top knobs correspond, if I'm not mistaken, to the top 4 here. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. The levels, I believe, these are the filters here. These are actually, yeah, these are the level. This level here is actually these, by the way, just so it's not confusing. So what you see here corresponds to these 8 knobs, okay? So it's pretty self-explanatory there. All right, so moving on. If you hit Control Mix, you'll have the options to do the panning, compression, and then the main output. And then you can hit it again and go back. But you don't have to hit Control. I don't know if they're going to change that or not, but right now you can do either or. You can just hit the mix button twice and go between. That's much quicker than using Control. Under Performance, if you hold Performance down, you can see the levels here, the mapping macro levels, whatever. It's kind of interesting. Nonetheless, Mixer, where are we? All right, so this is new. This is only in 2.0. If you haven't got 2.0, you won't see this, but this is the scene. And the scene, I haven't used this, to be honest with you. I'm just showing it to you, so I don't know nothing about it, to be honest. I'll have to learn it. But there's rules that you can do and chants, and then you can create these different scenes, right, and launch them. So it's kind of cool, actually, when you think about it that standpoint. And then here's how you can scroll through the scene, scrub through the scenes or whatever. But you'll see the number over here corresponds to which one you're going to launch. This one takes you down and this one takes you back up. So you could use these to go down or up, this one to launch, or you could just move down and up here. It's up to you. And then if you hit it, hold it down, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, these are so that you can quickly jump to one of the ones that are on the top 4 scenes. I think that's what that's for. And then if you hit Control when you're in this, you can see you can set different ones. So there's a lot of little functionalities that are cool. This is the track mix. So you have sends in here, and each track corresponds to here. So if you're on track 1, if you go to the track menu, you can switch over to a track and then go back up here and then start doing your work, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. And it shows you that the order of these goes this way down through here to the mix. So I don't think, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think you can move these around. I think they go in this order. You can bypass one. I know that for sure, because I showed you guys that. You can bypass an effect. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. You could just bypass it. And each effect is per track. So this track, and this track all have their own effects. So even if you set one for one, it's going to be its own thing, right? It's not going to copy over to the other one. You can copy stuff. Obviously, you have a copy and a clear button here that you can do that. This is your play start button. Play start. Play stop button right here. When you're in a scene here, you'll see down here, load, that's to load a sample. Freeze a sample. Reverse, obviously you know what reverse is. Record. So if you hit record here, it won't just record just because you hit record. You have to hit the play button and then it'll start recording. And if you hit Control, you can see you can loop it. You can trim. The trim I don't think works yet. I think they're still working on that. And then there's a monitor. If the monitor is not on, you will not hear what's coming through when you start trying to play stuff through it. So you have to make sure the monitor is on. And then you can adjust the tempo, the speed. They all have hamburger menus up here. So for instance, under the start, you can tell it, is start. You can set basically the division you want it to be under. So is your start gonna move? And I don't have a wave in here right now, so that doesn't really matter. Here I can load one real quick. So if you hit load, here's the factory section. And you can go down through here. Of course, you can bring your own stuff in, but I'm just going to use what's here. Open it up, and then you'll see these. Now, I think they don't preview. I don't have monitor on, so I'm not sure. Plus, I don't have anything plugged in, so let's plug something in. Now, I could just run the headphones instead of doing the out, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to plug into the out. That way we have some sound. And they don't preview. That's something I hope they add, like add a preview to it so that you could hear it. So I'll just select one, bring it in. There it is. Right, it's playing, and then you can start tweaking tempos and it's different. Reverse it. You can turn it to glide, which I don't know if this glide really works, to be honest, because I haven't seen it move. How much the density? All right, I'm gonna stop that because that can be pretty annoying. So now you can go in here and start adjusting in here. Turn up the spray. There's different pattern percentage. Adjust the filter. I'm just messing around to show you. This is when it starts getting interesting, this thing filter. It's got a slope, right? Then you could come in here and start putting in some. I'm gonna just use the big crush. Put some drive and compression. How much of that you want, and then saturate it. Some reverb and delay. So yeah, that's real basic, nothing special. That's not my favorite sample, but whatever. All right, so freeze, reverse. And right now it's set to loop. You see how trim doesn't work? They haven't fixed that yet. They're still working on it. So just be mindful if you watch this video. Look at the dates when you watch videos too, when people drop stuff, because there could be a new version out that may be updated. So pay attention to that. Here's what it looks like in the mixer, right? If you want to start adjusting filter. It's kind of crazy that you got a filter in, you got filter and then you got another filter on the mixer to filter. It's nice though. All right. So there we go, we stop it. All right, so this is just real basic. Like I said, nothing spectacular going on here. You can get crazy with, you know, like break beats and whatever you want to do in here. Start adjusting tempo, change the global tempo. I didn't do that yet, but you can mess with the global tempo. Pick where you want it to start, slow the speed down. Just speed down. One thing I kind of didn't care for too much was the speed goes in increments of 12. And I'm like, what? So I really reached out to him about that because that's a little weird. Like it should be 1 through 36 or something to adjust the speed so that you can have micro increments. I don't know, because there's no hamburger menu on this portion. So I don't know if there's a way to, currently I don't see a way to adjust the speed of that, to slow it down a little bit. So that's something I just have no clue. So you can clear the buffer or clear the mods if you want. By the way, if you hit clear, I'm gonna clear the buffer, so now it's gone. If you get confused on what buffer is, the wording and terminology some people use is interesting, but it's just the way that the file that's in here, you're just clearing it, right? That's all it is. You want to load another one in. So clear this mods. Clear the parameters. So if you don't like what you got going on there, just clear it. So I think it's going to get better. I think right now, I'm going to stop it. I think right now it is what it is. It's still in beta, it's still growing. They're going to probably do some more stuff. I imagine this is not where they're going to end it. But again, if you choose to go this route, just know that that's what it is. Now, the manual for this thing is actually phenomenal, and it's really this thing's still going. Oh, if you hit control there, it'll record, save stuff. I don't know. I think it's just for performing live, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this by just clearing it. Clear the buffer. All right. So anyway, that is the Torso S4. I'm still new with it. It does have a microphone built on board. You can obviously record in live, stuff like that, or you can record in via the two ends on the back. The one thing it doesn't have is record in from the USB. You can, as far as I know, you can send it out via USB to like iPad or even the Ableton or anything or whatever DAW you use, and you should be able to record into it, your parts. But you can't record, if you record out, you only got this as, not out, I'm sorry. If you record in, you only got this as your source to record in currently at this very moment. So anyway, that is this device. It's a fun device. It's very experimental. So don't think that you get it and it's just like, it's just gonna do everything for you. It's not that type of device. You need to play with it, use it, experiment with it. It does have, like I said, the sync in and sync out and the MIDI in and out, so you can use it with other devices. And if you've watched any other videos, you've seen that before. This video was longer than what I expected, but I just wanted to kind of show from somebody's standpoint who've never seen this device, or maybe they've seen it but never seen anybody explain anything on it to them. So now you kind of have an idea what it is. It's a sculpting sampler is what they call it. So it's designed to literally sculpt sound and change it and tweak it and mangle it. That's what it does best. All right. Hope all is well. I'll see you on the next one.